This week marks a massive week for Tottenham Hotspur. The Premier League is done and dusted. There's nothing to fight for on this front. But the Europa League still has a lot to play for. And it's not just the competition that means a lot. This could be Ange Postecoglou's final game as Tottenham Hotspur manager. It really hangs in the balance on Thursday against AZ Alkmaar. So today on the Sonny talkSPORT YouTube channel, we're going to be previewing the game and asking the question, could Ange Postecoglou be sacked by Tottenham Hotspur? But if you are new to the Sonny talkSPORT YouTube channel, then drop us a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and also leave your comments down below. Will Ange make the summer? So it's a very bold claim, but it's one that needs to be spoken about. As I mentioned in the intro, massive week for Spurs. Huge week after a very dismal first leg against AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League, where we fell to a 1-0 loss, and it was absolutely pathetic. We really need to turn up this week. We've just come off the back of a draw against Bournemouth in the Premier League, which did not fill me with much positivity. I mean, as I've mentioned in previous videos and TikToks and shorts, this should really bolster us. You know, Jamie Carragher mentioned it in the previous game. This should actually, to pardon the pun, spur Tottenham on to go into this game and get something from it. We're playing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It should make sense that we go out and get a win. But it's not that easy. This is Spurs we're talking about, under, you know, a manager who's not getting the best out of his players and a bunch of players who are still coming back from injury and not performing at their full capacity. It is so vital we get a result because it means so much. It is so important for the grand scheme of things in the season because, as I say, the Premier League is over. It's done and dusted. The season is an absolute write-off when it comes to the domestic form. But Daniel Levy decided to keep Ange Postecoglou on and focus on the cup competitions. But we limped out against Aston Villa in the FA Cup. We limped out against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, and now we're looking like we could limp out against AZ Alkmaar in the Europa League, where, you know, this competition means a lot. It's a historic competition. You can get Champions League football if you win it, and also it's a great piece of silverware. But the one worry is Ange Postecoglou, this could be his last game. But before I go any further, I just want to say to you guys, over 80% of you watching this video right now aren't subscribed to the Sonny talkSPORT YouTube channel. So get down below, hit that subscribe button, and also hit the notification bell because it'll let you know when I've gone live. And also, I was on the most recent episode of talkSPORT's Inside Spurs show. Myself, alongside Abbi Summers and former Premier League footballer Darren Ambrose. We reviewed the Bournemouth game, looked ahead to the AZ Alkmaar game. Here's a little sneak peek to see what's in store.
The worst Ange ball that we've seen this season.
And also, there's been a lot of choice for having some poor performances.
Yes, there is.
That was one of the worst performances I've actually ever seen him have.
I think it's the senior players that are letting Ange down. Yes, I do think that.
There's so much hype around it. Argentina and being linked with Real Madrid. He's having a laugh if he thinks he could end up at Real Madrid.
He seems to appreciate Argentina more than Spurs at the moment. But I don't care what happens in the league anymore. Thursday, AZ Alkmaar is the
cup final already.
It's the be-all and end-all of the season. It's the cup final. We're not getting into Europe unless we win the Europa League, which will be incredible season in my opinion. You win the Europa League.
Oh, yeah. Of course, we'd all absolutely take that.
Sometimes I watch his pre and post match and I think, yeah, I'd love to play for him. Then sometimes I think, would he inspire me? People love a drop-off. People love a drop-off of big clubs. And whether people like to accept it, Spurs are a big club globally. Spurs seem to be the favourites that people love to have a dig at. And yeah.
The thing is, he's got to take some risks on Thursday because if he doesn't throw the kitchen sink at this, then he's out the door.
I'm going to put my neck on the line. I think we go through.
Bergwall scored an own goal and he was still the best player on the pitch. So back to the game in hand. And as I say, you know, AZ Alkmaar, it should be winnable. We should be going into this game really getting a result against quite a poor Dutch team. We actually could face a better Dutch team in the next round if we get through, in the shape of Ajax. They're top of the Eredivisie. But this is what I wanted to speak about. And I mentioned the future of Ange Postecoglou. And I think if we don't get a result in this game, he's got to go, at least in the summer, but I wouldn't be surprised if he gets sacked on Friday morning, maybe ahead of the Fulham game at the weekend, because it's been a poor season. A lot of Tottenham fans are now opening up to the fact that Ange Postecoglou isn't the answer. We all wanted it to work, but sadly it hasn't. It just has not worked for Tottenham Hotspur this season, and it's a sad thing because I was a full Ange backer. I really liked the appointment. I really thought we had a good season last year. There was a few moments where it went quite wrong, but I thought we would get back on it, but it just hasn't worked. A lot of injuries are down to Ange Postecoglou, I believe, in this Tottenham side. The likes of Solanke, the centre-backs, it hasn't really worked out for him, and it does worry me. And just looking at the overall reaction from the media, from fans, and even Ange Postecoglou himself, it looks like it could be the beginning of the end.
It just felt, Angie, you've got to take that bounce into Thursday, haven't you? As you said, we just could have let it slip and come away with defeat, and then you're taking a negative into Thursday, but now we're taking a positive into Thursday.
Yeah, look, I think it's fair to say if we didn't show that sort of response at the end, there would have been a whole lot of noise around us again leading into Thursday. And at least now, like I said, gives the lads a real narrow focus look. But irrespective, it doesn't matter. We know it's a big game Thursday night. We know what we need to do to get through to the next round, and irrespective of kind of what the noise may or may not be leading into it, we've got to be ready for that.
Just finally, if we go back to what you said at the beginning, when it's in that sort of frenzied state, as a manager, what are you looking for from your players? When you sort of see it just getting so bitty and fractures in the middle of the park, what do you need to see more of?
Look, I think you're hoping for just some calmness in terms of individuals, through their actions, hopefully trying to sort of slow down proceedings a little bit. But I think there was a general sort of nervousness in the whole stadium, and I think that transferred to the players. And like I said, Kuti hasn't played. He's hardly played all year. His first 2 passes he's given to the opposition, but that's almost, you understand that. But he grew into the game and he got better as the game went on. But aside from that, there were still moments where I felt we were just too much of a hurry, too anxious. Obviously it was a disappointing night Thursday night, and when that happens, you want to go out there and respond. But we just needed to slow things down a little bit. I think Lucas coming on certainly helped that, because he's definitely a technician. He sort of protects the ball really well, and it's kind of what we needed.
So is that, I suppose, then a message to the team and for everyone for Thursday as well? It might be a bit of patience required on Thursday night.
Yeah, look, again, I can't tell people what to do, but, for all of us that were there at AZ on Thursday night, their crowd certainly helped them. And, hopefully on Thursday night we get a similar atmosphere here for us, get behind the players. They're desperate to do well. They're desperate to get through to the next round, and with a good atmosphere in here, I'm sure we can do it.
There is something so wrong with this Spurs team, Pards. And you're a manager. I want your opinion on it. I want to know, because I'm looking over to the gaffer. Big Ange, they call him, supposed to be big personality. I get nothing from him. I miss Conte going mad on the sideline. Even Mourinho getting up. Like, as a manager, Pards, listen, you had your fair little scraps on the side and stuff. You had it with, I remember you and
I was quite animated as a manager, but
brilliant.
That doesn't mean to say that's like makes you a better manager.
No, it doesn't make you a better manager, but in the time where your team needs you, surely you're the leader.
Well, I always thought that, some kind of presence on the sideline was important message to the players and to the fans, actually, to get the fans' stadium up now and again. It's not a bad thing to do, to kind of rouse them in some way with some mannerisms or whatever. I've got some stats here that don't really bode well.
Give me the stats before I say what I'm going to say.
Before you say what you're going to say. Spurs, there's only 4 teams who have lost more games than Spurs. That's Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton. They've lost 14 games. So their opponents today were Bournemouth, right? There's 10 points between you and Bournemouth. Bournemouth have lost 8 games. So you've lost 14 games. They've only lost 8 games. And we are talking about one of the biggest clubs in the British Isles, right? There's no doubt about that.
And that's you saying that, not me. No, before anyone tries to get on me.
These are just facts. And, they find themselves 13th, joint 13th, with Man United, who are 14th on 34 points. And, we all know where Man United lies. The manager has already been sacked there and replaced. So the stats are not good, and in particular, if you was really being critical and compared the two clubs of just Bournemouth and Spurs, you go, wow, that doesn't look right.
No.
Because I would have Spurs squad over. I mean, Bournemouth have got a good squad. I think they're a good team.
Some great players.
And he's got Irola's done a brilliant job. He's got a great. We all know how important the team is, right? But on an individual basis, I'll take the Spurs squad.
So, where's the problem then? This is what I'm saying.
Well, something's amiss. Something's amiss in terms of the feeling, the bond. Obviously, the injuries. There's no doubt about that. You had terrible injuries, and particularly to the back four, and that stability that you need to have a successful season. You've conceded 41 goals, but you have scored 55 goals, which is impressive, which is like a Champions League for. That's,
but the problem is all of that stuff at the back that we mentioned about today. Pedro Porro losing the ball so far up, an absolute gaping space on that right-hand side. Fantastic wing-back Porro, but as a right-back, he's no good. For me personally, Thursday is the biggest game in Daniel Levy's tenure, because apart from obviously the Champions League final that we messed up.
We forget about that, put that one side. What do the Romans ever do for us?
But what I'm saying is for Spurs to move forward, because next year there's no European football for us.
No.
There is no European football unless we win the Europa League, right? And we need to turn around a 1-0 deficit.
Which is very possible, by the way.
What, to win?
Yes.
With the Spurs squad that is there, they could win that.
Yes, they could.
But with that manager, they can't win that, in my opinion. Because where is the rousing of the team and we're together, we're a unit, etc.? There's nothing from him. I personally, tomorrow morning, get rid of him, bring back Harry Redknapp for one last hurrah.
Harry?
I'll bring Harry back.
It's Cheltenham week. You ain't getting Harry.
I'm being serious.
You ain't getting Harry out of Cheltenham this week.
But that could all change if he gets a result and, we keep fighting in this competition, because, as I say, this competition means a lot to Tottenham. It means a lot to Spurs fans. And we've won it twice before. So who says we can't do it again? I just think that it's just a lot. It's a lot for this, squad. I don't think we will win it. I think there's better teams in this competition. And I just think the writing's on the wall for Ange Postecoglou, as previously mentioned. I'm not confident he can, really turn this around. I think it is too far gone. I do think that Daniel Levy is solely to blame for the problems at Tottenham. But Ange Postecoglou, he is the manager. He sets the team up. Even with a strong team back, it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. Bournemouth absolutely, embarrassed us at the weekend. Outclassed us in certain moments. We were lucky to get a draw in that one. And, as I mentioned earlier in the video, on the latest Inside Spurs video, we spoke about this game and sort of the issues and problems that could happen if Ange doesn't get a result.
Let's talk more then about the Europa League. How do you feel, Sonny, about Thursday?
I mean, if we're going off what the season has shown us so far, not confident at all, because in these big games, whether it be Villa in the FA Cup, Liverpool in the second leg of the Carabao Cup final, it's just not been good enough. There's not been the passion there. It's not been go out there and put in a performance that warrants a good result. And, we were lucky it was 1-0 in that first leg. It could have been a lot worse, again, if it wasn't for Vicario. But you mentioned there, it's home. We've got a home tie. The Spurs fans can get behind this team, and then anything can happen. Because this Europa League, I think it's our best chance. And I said that at the beginning of the season, because, in the Carabao Cup, we had a tricky run. We had City, United, then Liverpool. With this, there's some good teams in Europe. You've got Athletic Club Bilbao, you've got Lazio. Man United, not a good club, but, it would still be a heavy tie. But I just feel like this has got, all the eggs have got to go in this basket. Like you said, Darren, about forget the Premier League, that's done and dusted. This is where, we've got such good history with this competition. We've won it twice. Even get to the final. Just show and give it your all, because I think AZ Alkmaar, I mentioned them there, I was a bit harsh on them, but they are like a lower level Premier League team. They were missing some of their...
us.
True. But they were missing some of their key players in that first leg. I think it's like Van Bommel's son plays for them. He wasn't in the team. They've got some tricky wingers, and Troy Parrott luckily hasn't scored yet. Against us.
Kiss of death, that.
They're there to be had. And I feel like we got, would we have rather had Real Sociedad on that tie? I'm not sure. I know they beat Galatasaray, we struggled against, but I still think I am confident we could get something from it, but.
Well, it can't be something. We have to win the game.
I've read this script before. I've seen this script before.
Yeah, it's essentially do or die, isn't it?
If AZ Alkmaar come to the stadium and try to defend this lead, I think it'll be convincingly. Spurs will win convincingly. I think if they come and take it to Spurs, it could be quite difficult. But as I said in the show, I think everything's clicking. Christian Romero and Van der Ven, they played 2 minutes. Solanke has come back. He rested Son, he rested Bergwijn. I think that's what he done.
Yeah.
Rested Maddison. So everything seems to be ticking into place. And this is the one game we need it for. Like you said, against Chelsea, brought those 2 defenders back, and it was like, they got injured, and it doesn't matter now. Bring them back. We need to win, because if we don't, he's going to be struggling, I think, and he could win Manager of the Month on the Friday and not have a job. So it's one of those, would you blame them if we went out to get rid of Ange? But like I said, I'm sticking my neck on the line. I think we'll go through. I really do. I think I'm very positive.
I know, I love that you're positive.
Levy did give Ange these cup games as well, and I'd say they're 3 of the worst performances of the season. So I think Levy will be looking at it and going like, I did give you because Levy has given him a chance. He sacked managers for less.
Well, yeah, but I actually don't think he physically could sack him.
What, financially or just?
No, I think financially we can do whatever we like.
Yeah.
We could really just buy good players as well. I think that he had no choice, because he decided to stick because of how. Yes, he sacked managers for less, right? But I feel like it got to a point, because we had so many injuries, that he then was kind of backed into a corner that he actually couldn't really sack him, because we needed to then figure out if it was actually the injuries that were making us so poor, or if it was Ange, or if it was a combination of both.
And what if Ange doesn't get a result? What do I see happening? Now, I think Ange should be kept on until the summer, because I don't see the point of, say, putting a Ryan Mason in, because I think Ryan Mason needs to go as well when Ange leaves. Ryan Mason has been at the club many years now as a coach. I don't necessarily think he's a good coach. He's been interim boss twice. I don't think he should be given a 3rd chance. I don't really rate his qualities as a coach. And I think in the summer we need to appoint a different manager. And my appointment would be Andoni Iraola. Played against Spurs at the weekend. I know obviously they got a draw and people say he fumbled it, but he has got that Bournemouth side absolutely ticking. He has got them playing an amazing style of football. He sort of reminds me, I don't know if it's the South Coast connection. He reminds me a bit like when Pochettino was at Southampton and he was getting a tune out of that squad. And it's the philosophy, it's the press, it's the, good defensive structure, it's the counter-attacking style of play. It really works for Bournemouth, and they've got a lot of good quality up and down the pitch in the likes of the centre-backs, Hulson and Zabrani. Then he's got Semenyo, Kluivert, Tavernier, Evan Nielsen. And I think he could improve a lot of the players in this Tottenham side. I mentioned it on a previous video. Solanke's worked with before, Kulusevski, Jed Spence. I could see him getting these players to that next level, which we think they could get at. And there's a lot of criticism of Andoni Iraola. Some people saying, he's the shiny new toy. It's just a lot of hype. I can see the Bournemouth side getting picked apart, the players and the manager. And I think we've got to get in before a bigger club, a super club, go in for Andoni Iraola, because he will be sought after, whether it's Real Madrid when they decide to let go of Carlo Ancelotti. And I just think he would be able to improve us. And I don't care. Some people say, we haven't seen him with 2 games a week. But Ange Postecoglou has now had that chance and it hasn't worked out. I think a younger manager with a better philosophy needs the Spurs job. And I think Andoni Iraola would be perfect. I am all for this manager. And it sounds like we're going in a new cycle. Daniel Levy, if he doesn't change, nothing will change. Well, we've got a squad here with the capacity and capability to improve. They're young, they're hungry, and they need a manager with a better identity, and that is Andoni Iraola. So that's what I could see potentially happening if Ange Postecoglou loses the Europa League tie against AZ Alkmaar in the next few months. That's how I see it playing out. But yeah, you have to let me know. Would you want Andoni Iraola over Ange Postecoglou? Do you see us winning against AZ Alkmaar? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. And as I said earlier in the video, leave your likes, subscribe, hit the notification bell and leave your comments. Go and check out the latest Inside Spurs episode because it was a really good one to record. Also, keep an eye on, we made our Ultimate Spurs Premier League 11. That should be going up on the talkSPORT YouTube channel soon. And as I said, over 80% of you not subscribed, so you know what to do down below. And until next time, which will be reacting to that AZ Alkmaar game, which I'm very nervous about, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.